Coming to you from a studio somewhere out there. It's Enough Already Radio with Fingers Malloy and Tracy L. Connors.
And here we are once again. It's another Enough Already, the explicit version. I'm Fingers Malloy. Hello, Tracy L. Connors.
Hello, Fingers Malloy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm really good. I'm planning a trip.
Oh?
Well, actually, two trips. One, I'm going to take my dad to Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's 79. He's never been to Las Vegas. He hasn't been on a plane in, I don't know, 45 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But
was he afraid of them like you?
No, he married my mother. My mother would never go on a plane. She was terrified of planes.
I do not understand that.
Well, I will give you an example, one of many examples later in the show as to why airplane travel is awful.
Okay.
But, no, my mom hates planes. I hate planes now just because, really, you're flying. You take off from Indianapolis. I'll use Indianapolis, for example. Surrounded by cornfields. Mm-hmm. Surface-to-air missile from a cornfield. Boom, you're gone.
Oh,
it's over.
Please. Nobody's targeting the Indianapolis airport.
Okay.
Sorry, Fingers. No one gives a shit about the Midwest. I don't think they're sitting around like ISIS is like, where could we really stick it to them? Mm-hmm. I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Right? It's a soft target.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, anyway, I'm planning a trip with my dad and my niece. We're all going to go to Las Vegas. But the other trip I'm excited about, week 1 of the NFL season is fast approaching. And I'm going to be seeing week 1 of the NFL season in a sports bar in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
You don't say.
I'm very excited about it. I found a joint in Philly. It's 12,000 square feet, the sports bar. It has 35 TVs and 40 beers on tap. And all these beers that are on tap at this place are all brewed within 100 miles of Philadelphia. That's pretty impressive.
Is that exciting?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't get out much. So we're going to have a whole crew from New York, D.C., Philadelphia, Indiana, show up to watch football.
Okay.
You don't sound interested in that at all.
No. A whole day of football watching?
Well, there'll be drinking.
Right, but I don't drink beer, so...
Well, I'm sure they have other adult beverages there.
It's not just some microbrew only joint?
No, it's a regular bar. They just happen to have 40 beers on tap. I probably won't even drink beer either.
Okay.
But I think it's cool. I may try one or two, but I'm a whiskey guy.
Right. I just don't want to sit there and have to listen to people talk about beer. That all happened after I stopped drinking beer, which was, I believe, 2005. I had my last beer. Mm-hmm. But then people got to be all beer snobs.
Yeah.
As if they're like sommeliers of beer. Like, give me a break. Just which one has the highest alcohol content?
Can I tell you about the mistake I made over the weekend?
Oh, please.
Sometimes there comes a point in your life where you just have to leave the house and go to a bar by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sunday was one of those days. Mm-hmm. So in central Indiana, these microbrews are, the breweries are just popping up all over the place. Within the last, I'd say 3 years, I have 4 new breweries that have popped up within about 10 minutes of my house. So I went to this place, and it's like, I'm going to have a beer. What the hell? And they had a Java Stout. Over 6% alcohol.
Okay.
It was very good. So I had 3 of those at the bar. and then I bought a growler to take home with me. Mm-hmm. For some reason in Indiana, you can buy a growler at a brewery and take that home with you.
Yes.
But I can't go to a liquor store and buy a 6-pack of beer and take it home with me.
No. Well, they don't sell beer at the liquor store, right?
Yes.
Yes, they don't, or yes, they do sell it?
Yes, they do sell beer at the liquor store.
Oh, see, in Pennsylvania, we don't sell beer at liquor stores.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, see, in Indiana, you can only... Well, they've changed the law slightly, but for years, you could only get cold beer at the liquor store.
Mm.
For some reason, if you want a chilled beer, you have to go to the liquor store, but you can't get it at a grocery store. Now you're seeing it pop up in some convenience stores. But so anyway, I got this growler of stout and brought it home and then drank the whole growler. Mm-hmm. Along with the 3 or 4 pints I had at the brewery. Then I started drinking Blue Moon. We had some Blue Moon at the house.
I remember that being quite delicious.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Don't you drink it with an orange?
Yeah, they do that. They drink it with an orange. I don't.
Of course.
I don't like putting fruit in my beer.
Well, you don't like putting fruit anywhere near your mouth.
That's true. Unless it's deep fried.
Oh, is that a thing?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, did you learn that from watching Oprah go to a county fair somewhere?
So I started drinking at about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I think I called it quits around 3 in the morning.
Okay.
Now, I can do that with whiskey. Mm-hmm. And not be hungover. Mm. For some reason now with beer, I can't do it. I drank that whole growler, and again, it was like 6% alcohol, over 6%. Drank those pints, started drinking, I don't know how many Blue Moons I had. Uh-huh. And I woke up the next day and felt like absolute dog shit. Mm-hmm. It's just a healthy reminder. The only beer I can seem to drink and not have a problem the next day is Guinness, because I can't get drunk on Guinness.
Right. You can only have 1 or 2.
Oh, I can drink Guinness all day because I'm a fatty.
Oh, okay.
But you don't get drunk.
Those are like a meal. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a lesson to me to stick with bourbon. But no, this sports bar, it's 12,000 square feet, and it has a ton of beer. And there's football all day. And it's in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I know peeps from Philadelphia, Tracy.
I know you do. I would be one of those peeps.
So I get a sense that the only way we're going to see you is if we FaceTime you.
No, I might come down and join you.
So that'll be fun. So that's been my weekend. I've been trying to avoid the news as much as possible.
Well, while you're on the liquor store kick, just for a second.
Uh-huh.
I've forgotten now that they've relaxed the laws a little bit in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And that they do sell beer and wine in grocery stores.
Oh.
Yes. Certain grocery stores have it. It hasn't made it to my Walmart yet, which is where I like to do my grocery shopping because I'm cheap.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. To me, it's also like a little stick it to the left because they hate Walmart so much kind of deal.
They have a right to hate Walmart, though.
Yeah. No, I agree with it. I mean,
I can't stand Walmart. And it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with what they pay their employees and
no. And everybody that I talk to, because I'm a talker when it comes to the people that are checking me out, I've asked them over the years repeatedly if they like working there. And everybody has said yes.
Yeah.
And then I joke with them about how I'm told that they're, I don't use the phrase slave labor, but I insinuate it. I'm told that you guys are abused, that this is a horrible place to work. They're totally oppressing you, and they just laugh. But I was out at dinner last night, and being the responsible human being that I am, I said I'm only going to have 1 glass of wine at dinner because I have to drive.
Right.
And I don't want to get a $10,000 ticket.
Right.
Which is the only thing that stops me legitimately from doing it. But So I'm like, oh, well, the liquor store closes at 10. Holy shit, we got to wrap this up. So leave the restaurant around 9:30, 9:35 and have to haul ass to the liquor store. Because there was one down the street from where we were eating, but since, it's controlled by state workers, they got to go earlier. So that one closed at 9. So I was like, damn it. I've got to make it. And my GPS is saying it's going to take me 13 minutes. Oh. So I had to walk to the car, and I'm watching the GPS saying, okay, you're going to arrive at 9:55. And they had moved this liquor store. It used to be closer to my house and closer to the restaurant where I was. But it's since moved because why not?
Right.
So I had to find it. I didn't know exactly where it was. So I'm screeching in there at 9:57. And there's one of the state employees because who gets I believe their pension when they retire is $50,000 a year.
Good God.
For being a clerk at the liquor store.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah. So he's looming in the doorway as if to say, like, don't even dare coming in. And it's automatic doors. And I was like, oh, my God, are these going to open or not?
Uh-huh.
And so they do open the whoosh. And I'm like, yes. And he says, you got 2 minutes. I'm like, shit. Because I want cold white wine. And that's all the way in the back.
Oh.
And this store is pretty big. So I have to haul ass across the store. And my preferred brand of the moment is the very, very expensive. Now I'm not going to remember the damn name of it. It's Australian.
Oh, it has a kangaroo on it.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, kangaroo. So some of them, like the Chardonnay, and some of them now have corks. They used to only have twists tops.
Are they trying to class it up?
I know. I was like, why are we trying to be classy with this here? Come on now. I'm like, I'm about to switch to the box because it's so much easier. Not that I have a problem uncorking things, but if I have a choice, I'm going to go with the twist. So they have the twists, but they're buried in the back. So I got to dig, grab my bottles, and then...
And the clock is ticking.
The clock is ticking. And so there's this whole bank of checkout spots. But of course, they're not going to facilitate me by opening the one that's the closest to the back.
Right.
So I have to go, I'm walking down a side that I came up on, and there's 3 different checkout things there. The gentleman who had given me the 2-minute warning doesn't feel the need to get behind a register or anything. He's still just kind of loafing about. So I have to come all the way around this giant island and work my way back.
Are you the only customer in the joint at this point?
No, I saw another gentleman there.
Okay.
But I was the only one in this particular line because there wasn't a line. And like I said, they only had the one register open. And I did get my transaction finished by 10 o'clock. But as I was standing there, I was like, damn it. We were 5 minutes away from a supermarket at the restaurant where we were eating. Uh-huh. I could have just gone there, wouldn't have to deal with these sourpusses that annoy the living shit out of me because your life is ridiculous. I'm sorry. You work at the liquor store, and they all have an attitude problem, which pisses me off more than anything. But I could have gone to the grocery store and gotten my damn wine there and not had to deal with them or speed.
If I were a unionized liquor store employee who was making 4 times as much as any other kind of liquor store employee around the country, or 3 times.
Or just a cashier. Yeah.
And I knew I was getting some sort of huge pension. When I decided to walk away from the dog-eat-dog world of liquor store cashiering, I would be the happiest cashier in America.
Yeah, well, I did go to a different one last week, and everybody in there was having a good time. They were talking about Jerry Springer show and just laughing it up, and they were all very pleasant. And so I might go to now that I can go to the grocery store, but I was in the grocery store the other day. And they have taken this thing and really run with it.
Yeah.
So they put in a bar.
Get out.
I was like, what the hell is this? There's a couple beers on tap. They've got TVs.
Nice.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, who is coming to the grocery store to sit at the bar and drink?
Oh, this is the female
dream,
mind
right?
versus the male mind. Because I was in Washington, D.C. a few years ago for some event, and I got a hotel room at one of these residence inns where I had a kitchen and everything. So I wanted to go to the grocery store. Well, it was not a Trader Joe's, but it was a Trader Joe's type place.
Okay.
Fresh Times maybe or something. I can't remember. But it was a huge grocery store. And they had a bar by the produce section that had 11 or 12 beers on tap. And you could take the beer with you while you were shopping. And I thought to myself, this would be, if I lived in this area, this would be the place I would go grocery shopping every week. And by every week, I mean every day. Because, nobody really likes to go grocery shopping. I don't mind it. But you don't enjoy it. This would make me look forward to going grocery shopping.
Okay.
So, genius, as far as I'm concerned. But, so this place only had, you said 2 beers on tap? Were they good beers?
Oh, I don't know how many beers they had on tap. I didn't pay attention. I saw taps and like a wooden bar with stools and TVs behind it. I'm like, wait, so the grocery store chain is called Acme. I'm like, Acme's employing bartenders now?
Was Wile E. Coyote behind the bar? What? Acme?
Yeah, that's one of our big chains out here.
Wow.
Yeah. But it looked quite nice.
Well, is it one of these places, too, where they have a deli to where you could go and have the deli make you up a nice lunch, and then you could take your lunch over to the bar and eat the lunch while you're having a draft beer?
Yep. Well, when you come to Philadelphia in the fall, Fingers, we can go hang out at the local Acme.
Well, I thought we already had a date going to Wawa.
Oh, that's true, too.
Tracy loves her Wawa.
Wawa's amazing.
I went there once with you and your friend, Amy, from what I remember. And we walked in, and they have kiosks, right, where you can just punch up a sandwich, and they bring it out to you, and that's it. And I'm looking around, and I've heard you talk about this place for a long time, and I'm thinking, what's the big deal? I mean, it's better than my Speedway where I go and get my hot dog.
Right.
But you really love your Wawa.
I love it. It's always clean. Everybody that works in any one of them I've ever been in is exceptionally nice. And they have a huge menu of food items that you just touch screen order. And now they have an app where you can order it on your damn phone before you even get there, and it's waiting for you.
Really?
Yes. And they've had those touch screens for maybe 15, 20 years.
You people visiting from Seattle, you should get used to that.
Yeah.
Because that's coming. But is Acme better than Wawa?
Well, I mean, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about a grocery store versus a convenience store. And I think I'm sure they're trying to get a license to sell beer and wine, which will make it the ultimate spot. Well,
you're seeing that in Indiana, where this is where convenience stores in Indiana are getting around the whole cold beer thing. Is we have a couple of gas stations that have the convenience store connected to it. They're starting to sell food, and that's how they're getting around selling beer. Oh, because you could sell the beer with the food. So they're putting in a couple of tables. So, hey, we're selling some food here, but really you're here for the beer.
Right. God.
And of course the Republicans here are all pissed off because someone found a loophole in the law. And rather than saying, you know what, this is ridiculous, we should just let everyone sell beer. Let the free market work. And it's, no, you know what, we got to figure out a way to clamp down on this. God, I hate the Indiana GOP. I really do.
Wow. Yeah.
I should be able to buy a goddamn 6-pack on a Sunday.
Anywhere you want.
It will be legal for me to buy a joint in all 50 states before I can buy a 6-pack of beer on a Sunday in Indiana.
That's probably true.
So.
Yes.
To put a bow on this story, were you able to get your wine and leave and enjoy it?
Yes, I was.
No, that's good.
And I got enough that I probably don't have to go back again for a couple days.
Good for a couple days. How many bottles did you get?
2.
Ugh. I don't know how you drink wine.
By pouring it into my mouth.
I know. I physically, I know how you drink wine. I know the process. I just don't know how you can enjoy it. Wow. That's a whole different kind of hangover. A wine hangover.
When you keep it up, though, you got to get back into drinking shape. I think you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
When you do it frequently, the hangovers dissipate.
That's true. What's bothering me is I can't remember the name of that kangaroo wine. I knew exactly what you were talking about, though.
Yeah, I can't either. It'll come to me.
I used to buy it for women when because I'm kind of cheap, and it's a cheap wine.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, she probably likes
it's called
wine.
Yellowtail.
Yellowtail, yeah.
It's cheap, but not the cheapest. It's not like Sutter Home, where you can get the little 6-packs of bottles.
Yeah.
That's totally classy.
So, as a joke for this Philadelphia trip.
Yes.
We're making it into a fake conference.
Oh. Okay.
And we're calling it Cool Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to come up with a Cool Pack cocktail.
Oh, okay. Did you ask our good friend Sarah Smith?
Yes.
Of course you did. Bartender extraordinaire she is.
Yes. So she's on the case to come up with a Cool Pack cocktail. But we came up with a Trump shot.
Okay.
And I think we're going to do that while we're at Cool Pack in Philadelphia. It's Fireball and orange vodka.
Ugh. Did you want it to be disgusting?
We wanted it to be obnoxious.
Okay.
Is there anything more obnoxious than Fireball?
Well, come to think of it, when I was at a different liquor store, this was in New Jersey, they have Zima.
Yeah.
They were like, it's back for a limited time. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Did you drink Zima in college?
High school.
High school.
Yeah,
I used to
it once or
bartend.
Twice, and we tried to trick my grandmother into buying it because we thought maybe she would think it was soda. We were about 14, my cousin and I.
Grandma
she
knew
didn't
better?
Buy it. She read it, and she said she was from Long Island, so she had a bit of an accent still, even though she lived in Pennsylvania for years. And she looked at it, down her nose through the bifocal part of her glasses, and went, malt like a beer. No way. What are you kids trying to do?
Well, I mean, the first tip-off is a 6-pack of pop does not cost $7.
Right.
But
we didn't even get to that part.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, I used to bartend.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, to women, this used to be liquid crack. They come up and they excuse me, can I get a Zima, and can you pour a shot of amaretto in it?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back at the jukebox trying to play songs from the Alanis Morissette CD.
Oh, no.
Oh, good Lord. It was like Groundhog Day. Friday, Saturday night, women would come in, order 3 or 4 Zimas with amaretto in it, and then it'd be, I want you to know I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you both. It was like, oh God, 10:30 at night. When's Alanis Morissette coming on? Fantastic. Yeah, so they brought Zima back. Which I don't even know why. Why would it go away? I don't understand. I mean, there are so many crappy beverages that have been out there for years that...
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could still get like a Bud Ice if you want one. Remember the ice beer
Yes. Yeah.
phase. There was the ice beers were the rage, and then dry beers. I remember Bud Dry.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. But Zima's back, so get excited. Limited time only. Better stock up.
So maybe the cool pack cocktail could be Fireball and a Zima.
Yeah. Oh, God, that sounds so Jersey Shore-ish. I mean, the only thing worse is like St. Ides Special Brew. Did you ever have that?
No.
Oh, yeah. That was a college one.
I think I've told this story before. I was walking into a 7-Eleven in the mid-90s in Michigan, and they had a special 22-ounce bottles of Colt 45 ice for 69 cents.
Had to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
In the cooler right next to it, bottles of Aquafina were 99 cents. I was like, oh, I got to do this.
And of course, tap water or malt liquor.
It was. I would rather have drank from a Flint tap. Just drink the Flint tap water right out of the sink than drink this crappy Colt 45 ice. It was the most disgusting beverage I've ever had, and I've had Fireball. You can buy Fireball now and put it in your, like, they've got a special freezer box where you could put the Fireball in your freezer.
So disgusting.
Fireball isn't a lifestyle, kids. So we even talk about news this week. I mean, really, CNN's a fucking disaster.
Yeah, they are. Do you think any heads will roll, though?
This is the funny thing about CNN and whether heads will roll. Heads will not roll based on the fake news stories. The only way heads will roll is if this merger goes through between Time Warner and AT&T. Now, how sad is it that this is where we are when it comes to journalism in 2017, where clearly the standards at CNN are at an all-time low. Their journalistic standards. They're at an all-time low. But that may not be what causes heads to roll. It will be a Wall Street merger.
I disagree with you. I think the producer that got caught on the first Veritas tape saying, you know, the Russia story is mostly bullshit, his head might roll just because you fucked up. You let the cat out of the bag kind of deal.
Right.
I mean, unknowingly, obviously. It sounds like, from what I heard O'Keefe saying, I saw him on Gavin McInnes' show, that they had, you know, this is months in the offing.
Yeah.
So it's not like somebody just walks up and is like, hi, CNN producer, why don't you tell me what you think about the Russia story? Is it bullshit? No. I mean, these people have to work there. I can't imagine that, going to CNN every day, you know, and pretending to actually want to be a part of that organization and seeing it. It's got to be horrifying and soul crushing. But yeah, so gain the trust and then get them to open up, which they will. So I think that guy may lose his job just because they want to look like they're doing something.
Right.
And I don't think they went with, normally when these stories come out, there's always a pattern that they go into of defending it, which also involves attacking O'Keefe. So any of the stories that you read about this, especially in lefty or mainstream sites, at the bottom of the article about this video, they'll be like, oh, and James O'Keefe, you know, he was arrested and blah, 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 for the Mary Landrieu's office thing where they went in and posed as phone repairmen.
Right.
But never did anything. And I believe the charges were subsequently dropped. They love to call him a convicted felon, which is absolutely untrue. And even though he's successfully sued people for saying that, they keep doing it. But it's all, you know, it's the subtext is, oh, you can't believe this guy because he's a criminal. Or he got in trouble before. Or we're going to, you know, whatever. But
But what about what's on the video?
Yeah, well, selectively edited. Well, I saw the sentence that was all run together and there was no cutting. I know a little bit about production and you can tell when there's a jump cut to piece it together. It's not like he's sitting outside saying, I think the Russia story is, and then cut to the elevator, complete bullshit. No, it's one continuous thing. So worm your way out of that one.
Has he posted all of the video?
No. And he was saying on Gavin's show, he's got a lot.
Because I thought I saw, was it Molly Hemingway?
Potentially.
I thought she said that she saw the unedited video. Maybe she got a private screening. I don't know. But I thought she said that that's even more damning than the edited video.
Well, what they always do is put out the full context.
Yeah.
So you can see it, but then people still pretend that doesn't exist and never mention it. So potentially they published a longer version as well, but I only saw the 7-minute version, I believe, is how long it was. And then the follow-up with Van Jones was only about 2.5 minutes. But James said today, which is Thursday, that he's going to be publishing his run-in with Jeffrey Zucker, the CEO over there. And then he's got another hidden camera video coming out on Friday. So he's declared war on them. And I do think that this is the only way you're going to get everybody to recognize how bullshit the news is. And I think that goes almost across the board. I mean, there's so many influences at play. And I think Tucker Carlson did a pretty damn good job exposing that when he did a whole week on the opioid epidemic. And it's kind of like, well, why hasn't the news been talking about this? Oh, let's cut to the commercials. It's pharma, 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 pharma.
Right.
So the only way to get around all of this is to have independently, like, crowd-funded media sources that aren't beholden to advertisers. Because that's what the CNN guy admitted, like, oh, this is a ratings driver, and like that's why we're pushing it, even though there's nothing that we found yet, no hardcore evidence or smoking gun, but we're just going to keep talking about it because apparently the entire, left wing that's been traumatized by Trump just wants to hear about Russia, Russia, Russia all day.
Now, you know much more about marijuana than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really a little bit surprised that Pharma hasn't come out, Big Pharma, in favor of legalizing weed if they were able to control it.
Well, they're not going to.
I understand you can grow your own. You don't need Big Pharma to. But, I mean, you're seeing this when it comes to e-cigs, where Big Tobacco is, they're pressuring lawmakers, to get their e-cigs on the market and be approved, where, a lot of the e-cig market they're trying to suppress.
Well, they're not trying to, the way that it's going with Pharma Big Tobacco and the e-cigarette thing is, at first they were against it because obviously it's going to decimate. It's going to take away customers from them. But then they just got on board and bought up existing brands. And then when the regulations came down, or when they were being discussed, they don't give a damn about having to pay millions upon millions of dollars to get their products approved through the FDA. So they're totally cool with it. It's like, oh, it's going to cost us $1 million per product and $1 million for each different nicotine level and each different flavor. We can write a check for that tomorrow. So they'll just crush the little guys. And that's been that industry from the beginning. It was like people making their own, extracting their own liquid nicotine and then mixing up flavors. And the batteries come from China, a lot of them, and whatever. But so the big tobacco companies don't give a damn. They can totally afford to make it through the regulatory state, and they're used to dealing with it.
Yeah.
So they're going to just put a bunch of other people out of business if the regulations stay as written. And then you also have pharmas in that fight because you're going to destroy their quit smoking drugs.
Yeah.
Which have horrible side effects.
Oh, I have friends that have gone to e-cigs as a way to quit smoking, and it's worked for them. But before that, they tried drugs like Chantix, and it made them fidgety, awful side effects.
Yeah.
For them. But that's where you turn to if you don't have e-cigs. Nicotine gum.
Right, which is incredibly expensive.
Right. Chantix or other prescription drugs. Is Chantix prescription?
Yes.
I don't know.
I believe it is.
And e-cigs have been much more effective than either nicotine gum or Chantix. But no, I just find it fascinating. I would think that if there were a way for Big Pharma to profit on marijuana, they would push to try to make it to where if it were illegal, they would be able to, if they could figure out a way to corner the market on at least medical marijuana. Yeah.
Right.
They would do it.
Well, the thing is that how many of their pricey prescription drugs are going to become useless?
Yeah.
Because they haven't really been able to do, because of the Schedule 1 status of marijuana, you can't really get into medical research on the benefits.
Yeah.
You have to get special permission to do that stuff. And we all know what that's like, dealing with the government to get permission to do something like that. So it takes a really long time. So it's just unexplored territory. And they're probably terrified, because there have been some really good benefits coming out of some of the strains that they've concocted over the years, like CBD, which is another, there's THC is the stuff that fucks you up. But then there's CBD, and you can grow plants that have more of a CBD concentrate than a THC, and that's used for all kinds of things, like pain relief, et cetera, et cetera. And it's that mix, which is mostly CBD with a little bit of THC to activate it. It boosts the activation rate of the CBD, but that's what they were giving to kids with epilepsy. And like the most famous case is the little girl in New Jersey that was having seizures constantly. And when they gave this to her, her seizure rate dropped to almost nothing.
Well, in Indiana, where you can't get a 6-pack of beer on a Sunday, they're pushing a bill that actually passed the state Senate in February, 98-0, for medical marijuana for people who have epilepsy. So it goes right into what you're talking about. And it's the farthest that a medical marijuana bill has ever advanced in the state house. I don't know if it has actually gone to the governor's desk yet.
We're getting it in Pennsylvania. But the barrier to entry to the market is absurd. And I think we talked about it before.
Yeah.
I think you had to put up something like, I want to say $20,000 to just be considered to get a license. And then you had to show that you had at least $2 million. And then you also had to provide a diversity plan for your business and a community impact study.
Wow.
So it's a giant pain in the ass. So it's going to be a bunch of wealthy Pennsylvania families are the ones that seem to be stepping forward to get into that game.
I don't know the medical marijuana laws in other states. I don't know what the threshold has to be, what has to be met for people to be able to qualify to get medical marijuana. And say California. I'll use
California. It's like, my foot hurts. Here you go. I'm serious.
Well, that's what I wondered. If it's, hey, doc, I suffer from anxiety, and the joint would really help me. Oh, okay, here you go. And is it covered by insurance?
I don't think so. I think because you still have the Schedule 1 problem.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. But I've seen reports that and I pulled up an article right now from Fox News. Multiple studies have shown that pro-medical marijuana states have reported fewer opiate deaths. And so this story is about how they're trying to, they say a handful of drug makers are taking the first steps towards developing a marijuana-based painkiller as an alternative to opioids. So that could be huge.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Jesus, it's still so unbelievable to me that you've got all these people addicted to, let's just be honest, heroin.
Yeah.
Because that the government says this heroin in pill form that you get from the person in a white coat behind the counter at the CVS is totally cool with us. You use it away. And then when your prescription runs out and you're totally addicted to it, what are you going to do? And people wonder why the hell we have an opioid problem.
No, it just amazes me that it's still illegal. I mean, going to Denver for Red State last year, and look, I smoked some pot in college. Wasn't a big pothead, and I don't really smoke now. But when I was in Denver, I was like, oh, what the hell? I got to check this out, right?
Right.
To go into a marijuana store and just look around, and I ended up getting a vape pen. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It just amazes me that we're still at this place where you've got people. You get people in Indiana that get shitty with you if you bitch about not being able to get beer on a Sunday.
They think that that's a legitimate thing?
Well, they're like, oh, you can't work around that. Oh, maybe you have an alcohol problem. Well,
yeah, my problem is that I can't get alcohol on Sunday.
Right. Or how about it's none of your business?
Yeah.
Why is it any of your business if I want to go buy a six-pack on a Sunday versus a Saturday? Why should it matter to you? But you'll see that if you post on Facebook, some of these people come out of the woodwork, or if there are stories in the local media in the comment section. It's like, oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with this. It's like, well, yeah, there really is. If I want to enter into a business arrangement with a store that sells beer on a Sunday and have a transaction, why does it matter to you? What difference does it make if I buy it on a Sunday versus a Saturday? The liquor stores here love it because they get a built-in day off, and chances are they sell just as much beer and liquor in 6 days as they do 7. They don't miss out on a lot of sales because people stock up for the weekend.
Right.
It's none of your business. It's none of your business if I buy a 6-pack on a Sunday at a liquor store, if I buy a vape pen that has THC. Is that it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the chemical compound of marijuana that'll get you fucked up.
Okay. It's none of your business. Mm-mm. It's your business when I do that and then I get behind the wheel of an automobile and plow into 13 people who are minding their own business walking down the street. Then it's your business. But until then, which would never happen, it's none of your business. That's the thing that really drives me nuts. And you see this we'll just use drunk driving laws. Drunk driving laws are too strict on the person that has one too many beers and gets behind the wheel. And I know this isn't politically correct to say, but I don't give a shit. Guy has one too many beers at dinner, gets behind the wheel, drives home, too strict, can damn near ruin your life. But then they aren't hard enough on the person that decides to drink 2 bottles of vodka, get behind the wheel, drive down the wrong side of a highway, and kill 3 people.
Right. And if they're an illegal, they just basically get to walk.
Right. The laws are so out of whack when it comes to drinking and driving.
No, it's crazy. This is why I still maintain that you should be able to get a drunk driver license. Like TSA pre, you can pay to jump all those lines just by going through these things. I should be able to pay to go to the DMV, ride around. They can assess me sober, and then we're doing a shot, and then we're driving the course again, and then we do another one until I can't do it. And so I get a personal blood alcohol content stamped on my little license. Like, if you pull Tracy over and she takes a breathalyzer, she can blow a .2 before we have to arrest her.
You'll pay extra.
Absolutely. And it's not like I want to get shit-faced and drive home, but I would like to be able to go out and have more than one drink and not be terrified of driving. I mean, this is why Uber's been so great, and I can't wait until self-driving cars, but it's nuts. I mean, I was talking to my grandmother's in town, and she was at the beach house, and we were chatting about drinking and driving. And she's not a big drinker, but, you know, her parents were, and they were constantly driving. She's like, oh, yeah, they would, you know, get all lit up, and then they would drive from New Jersey to Maryland because they wanted to go to a bar there. And you're just like, Jesus.
Yeah, back in the 50s, I would hear stories. My dad would tell me where, you get pulled over by the cop, and the cop would say, now, boys, pour the beer out in front of me. Or take the beer and probably go home and drink it.
Right.
And send them on their way. You need to go home now. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, the checkpoints are annoying, and I don't know if you've ever been stopped in one.
No.
I have. The random checks. And I was working on an MTV show, and when you're working TV, your hours are really wacky. So I think I was coming home, and our office was in a hotel, because that's what happens, right on City Line Avenue in Philadelphia. And so we got off around, I don't know, midnight, 12:30-ish. I had to go to the office and do some stuff. And then I was coming home and getting onto one of the major highways. And first of all, this is like a really hard hairpin turn to get on. It's a blind turn. Yeah. So I take this blind turn, and then there's cops sitting like 100 yards down. I was like, well, this is a really fucking stupid place to be. Because if you've got a line of cars, somebody could come around that corner and just plow into everybody. So way to be safe. In the pursuit of safety, you guys are making this really dangerous. So I have to stop. I roll my window down. Where are you coming from? Work?
None of your fucking business.
Right. Have you been drinking? I just told you I was coming from work. What do you think my work is? That I would be sitting around drinking? I mean, this is not the 1950s. This is not an episode of Mad Men.
Yeah, I've got a wet bar in my office. No, I haven't been drinking. And I've been at work for the last 14 hours, so I'm kind of irritable right now. And this is the last thing I want to be dealing with is you schmucks. Clearly, I'm fine. Just please let me get on the highway before somebody comes around that corner and plows into me. Right.
So I just find that to be incredibly just invasive as hell.
But if it could save one life, Tracy.
Oh, right. And it's not even as if there were a bunch of bars on the street that I was coming off of that are right there. But no, I kind of think it should be like the laws with as far as using guns in the commission of a crime. That will get you a harsher sentence. So why don't we just do that and say, okay, if you get in an accident and then we test your blood alcohol level and you were drunk, then the penalties or fines or jail time potentially is just increased.
Yes. And listen, I don't need to hear the stories. Don't tweet me about how your brother's friend was killed by a drunk driver. I get it. Mm-hmm. Those people should have the book thrown at them.
Absolutely.
The book thrown at them. I remember a story going back 30 years ago where this guy was so drunk, he hit a woman and dragged her body behind the car for over a mile. And I think he ended up only serving 1.5 years in jail.
That's insanity.
You throw the book at him.
Mm-hmm.
1.5 years in jail. It's ridiculous. But this is a money grab.
100%.
This has nothing to do with public safety, just like seatbelt laws. Mm-hmm. Seatbelt laws have nothing to do with public safety and everything to do with revenue generation. I mean, how many of these municipalities see a large portion of that seatbelt money go into the police pension fund?
All of them.
I remember in Michigan, they first sell it to people. Listen, it'll be a secondary offense. We can't pull you. We're going to pass this, but we aren't going to just be able to pull you over because you're not wearing your seatbelt. It'll be, oh, you know what? You were speeding, and we see you don't wear a seatbelt. Mm-hmm. And we'll ticket you for that. 10 years later, you got click it or ticket.
Yeah.
You got helicopters flying over the highway with cops and binoculars looking to see if you're wearing your seatbelt.
No, and the only person that endangers is you.
Right.
So it's crazy, especially like in Pennsylvania where we don't have a helmet law for motorcycles.
And you shouldn't have a helmet law for motorcycles, but that's another.
It's the same
subject.
thing.
Exactly. It's my choice.
Yeah.
If I wanted to ride my motorcycle, get in an accident, and have my head crack open on the pavement like a coconut, it's my choice.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody thinking that we're like, oh, let's go get hammered and get behind the wheel because that's fun times. We're just like, okay, it's a little bit too damn strict at this point, and everybody handles alcohol differently.
Look, when I know I'm going out for a night on the town, and it happens rarely, but about once every couple of months, I meet some friends. I take a lift there and I take a lift home.
Yep.
So I don't need the tweets. Oh, you're advocating drinking and driving. No, I'm not. But it really is ridiculous when you see someone like I said earlier that maybe had 3 beers at dinner and you come home and it's raining outside, but walk this line.
Yeah, and especially bigger people or people that can handle booze.
I've never done any kind of breathalyzer test before, but I'm 6'3" and I weigh 260 pounds. Mm-hmm. Me having 3 or 4 beers versus, say, you having 3 or 4 beers, Tracy, are 2 entirely different things.
Yep. But it also has to do with tolerance.
Yes.
I mean, there's some people that have 1 glass of either beer or wine or liquor, and they're done for.
Yep.
I am not one of those people.
You could drink at least 4 amarettos and Zimas before it hit you.
Oh, sure. Easily.
Whole system's out of whack.
It really is.
Well, you want to talk about anything else?
I think we should talk about Mika Brzezinski's bleeding face.
Okay. I've been told by some that the show is completely in the tank for Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Yes. And listen, there are plenty of places where you can go if you want to listen to someone attack Donald Trump. You don't have to come to this show for that, because you're not going to hear it for the most part. But this is ridiculous. I mean, what's he doing? I mean, it's funny. Okay, I get it, but it's just, he's the president of the United States. Why is he tweeting this crap? For those that don't know, do you have the story in front of you?
I do have the story in front of me. But this is why I like him. Because he shows how ridiculous the whole damn system is.
Okay.
The fact that he's sitting around doing this should be a wake-up call to everybody. Do we really need this government thing? I don't know, guys. Is it time to rethink? I think so. And that was the beauty that I saw in him from the very, very beginning. And plus, I'm wildly entertained by silly little cat fights. So this is a TMZ. Donald Trump claims MSNBC anchor Mika Brzezinski, quote, bleeding badly from a facelift. So I guess, I don't know what they did to piss him off on Morning Joe this morning, but Donald Trump tweeted, heard poorly rated Morning Joe speaks badly of me, and then parenthetical, I don't watch anymore. And remember, he used to be a fan of that show, and he was on there quite frequently.
Oh, they let him call in? Yeah.
Yeah. And when they announced that they were getting married, didn't he offer to officiate and have the wedding at the White House? Okay. Then, how come low IQ crazy Mika and along with Psycho Joe came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's and insisted on joining me? She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no.
Okay, it's funny.
It's hilarious.
But it's
ridiculous
really?
that the president's doing it. Yes, I agree. But do we need presidents anymore?
It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
We can't get the Senate to agree on any kind of Obamacare repeal bill.
Mm-hmm.
The House is talking about lightening their schedule.
Well, you have a problem with that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I
really?
do. I mean, here's what I have a problem with. I have been promised for years, if I have a Republican Congress and a Republican president, that we're going to have some tax reform. We're going to have an Obamacare repeal bill. And they can't even get that shit done. Now, once they get that done, I don't care if they ever go back to Washington again. I would prefer that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, nothing has been done with Obamacare that makes me feel like it's going to be repealed.
Right.
It looks like Obamacare light out of the Senate. You know, they're even whispering about having an individual mandate in the Republican bill. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, this doesn't look anything like what you promised me over the past 8 years. Yeah.
Are you telling me that politicians lie?
Right?
So weird.
So yeah, it does piss me off that the House is talking about scaling back their schedule. And, you know, they've got, what, a 5-week break coming up? A break from what? What are they doing besides media hits, trying to raise money for re-election, and drinking at the Capitol Hill Club? What are they doing?
Nothing as far as I can tell.
Holy Christ. I mean, what a cush job. You get in, there's a 95% chance you're going to be reelected because you're an incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, at some point, when you decide to hang it up, which is tough because you get a taste of political power, it's tough for you to walk away. If you need proof that it's tough for them to walk away, see Orrin Hatch and John McCain. I'll serve here until I'm 120.
Well, and Robert Byrd, don't you remember they had to wheel him in his deathbed to go vote for Obamacare?
Yeah. But once you leave, you can go over to K Street.
Yeah.
Or I like to call it KY Street. Become a lobbyist. And screw the American people over. And pad your bank account even more. Or start a foundation. So yeah. What a cush job. It's a golden ticket, Tracy. And they need a vacation. They need a 5-week vacation from that.
They got to go home and get yelled at by their constituents.
And act like they care that they're getting yelled at by their constituents.
Yes. That's hard work. Pretending to care for 5 weeks.
So yeah, it bothers me.
Okay. I would rather they just go home and stay home.
With everything in place the way it is right now?
Huh.
I mean, you're right. There is a part of me that agrees with you because whatever they're going to do to the tax code and Obamacare is probably going to make it worse.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I'd like them to get the tax code fixed ASAP. But I have no faith that that'll happen. And what they're doing with Obamacare just seems to be more disastrous than what we already have. So go home, let that whole system fall apart, have 0 insurers left, and then they'll really have to do something.
But unfortunately, the narrative is in place now that, the only thing that they're going to do from here is go single payer.
Well, that's where we all said this 8 years ago when they were pushing Obamacare. That's their end game, and the left doesn't give up.
But I'm seeing this from people on the right. Oh, it's too late. We lost the battle.
Right.
Lost the battle. This is how bad you are at messaging. The whole insurance market is falling apart because of government.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not articulate that to the American people? Listen, the people who screwed over the healthcare industry, the people that have screwed over the health insurance market for you as a consumer, they want more power over your healthcare choices. Are you going to give it to them?
Yeah. These people that know absolutely nothing about healthcare, and they know nothing about you, and don't for a second believe that they give a shit about you.
Oh,
These are the same people that send us into endless wars.
They care about me.
Get over yourself. They do not. They do not give the first damn about you.
And here's the thing. I hear the argument from them that, like health insurance companies care about you? Well, you know what? No, they don't. But you know who cares less about me than someone at a health insurance company? A government bureaucrat.
Yes.
Your solution is, those people don't care about you, but this government bureaucrat will do a better job caring about me and my healthcare needs than an insurance company. That's your argument? And Republicans are saying they're losing the narrative? They're losing the battle of ideas over people that are saying, insurance companies suck. The government can do a better job.
Right. Insurance, that was the whole weird setup from the beginning with this, was that insurance companies are evil. Therefore, we are going to mandate that everybody buy something from them. And nobody went to the mics on the other side and said that. It's that simple. Look, these people are telling you day in and day out that insurance companies are evil and they're gouging you and they're cutting you off when you're dying. And yet their solution is to make you buy shit from them.
Yeah.
Okay, these two things don't wash. So there's a problem here. And the problem is the government got involved in insurance to begin with.
But single payer is the solution, Tracy.
Of course.
Government healthcare, the VA, Jesus. And then you're seeing this heartbreaking story out of Great Britain where this family wanted to bring their infant to the United States for treatment. And I'm not going to pull it up because it just depresses me. It's some rare disease or syndrome, and they're being told that they cannot take their child to the United States for treatment.
What?
No, you're going to make me pull it up, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, come on.
I found some stories about it. The kid's name is Charlie Gard, Gard, but it doesn't tell me. It jumps in the middle of the story, so.
Yeah, okay. Here from the UK, The Guardian.
Okay.
Charlie Gard's parents say his life support will be withdrawn on Friday.
Oh.
Baby at center of legal battle will die knowing he was loved by thousands, say Chris Gard and Connie Yates. Charlie Gard, the critically ill baby at the center of a protracted legal battle, is to have his life support withdrawn by a hospital on Friday, his parents have said. Chris Gard and Connie Yates said 10-month-old Charlie, who suffers from a form of mitochondrial disease, a genetic condition which causes progressive muscle weakness and brain damage, will die knowing he was loved by thousands. Now, on Thursday, the European Court of Human Rights rejected Gard and Yates' appeal that Charlie should be allowed to undergo experimental treatment in the U.S., closing off the last legal avenue of appeal for the family.
Why can't they just get on a plane? They're not allowing them to leave the country with him?
Right.
This is madness. And the Court of Human Rights says no?
The Court of Human Rights says no. Doctors have been blocking their wish to take their son home before he dies.
Oh.
That's single payer.
Yeah.
That's government health care. And you saw that with the original Hillary Care bill back in the 90s, where they wanted to outlaw you being able to pay cash to a private doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Your body, your choice, Tracy.
Yeah. Only if you want to kill a baby.
This is all about control. This has nothing to do with healthcare. What business is it of any government to tell you where you can have your child treated if it's got a serious disease? This isn't child neglect. This isn't someone that's taking their baby home saying we don't want any medical treatment. These are two parents that are committed to get treatment for their child wherever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the government's saying, no, you can't do that. Is it my kid?
No, that's the thing. You belong to the state at that point. And the state has decided that you don't deserve to live. It's too expensive.
Well, and the argument you hear quite a bit on the left is, well, insurance companies make those decisions all the time.
Yeah.
If you have a crappy insurance company, you can change insurance companies.
But what if you have a pre-existing condition?
What if you have a pre-existing condition and the government is your insurer?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently you're not even allowed to take your child with a pre-existing condition somewhere where they may be able to receive medical treatment under the British system. So spare me.
No, again, it exposes the lack of compassion these people have. They do not care. They know that they're killing that baby.
And what's really sickening is the bureaucrats, the people in the hospital, they make it sound like the parents are being unreasonable. Oh, they just need to realize that this is the way it is, and their child is very sick and is going to die. I'm sure that the parents are well aware of the medical situation regarding their son.
Mm-hmm. But if there's a chance, they want to try it.
Right.
And you're going to tell them no? It's just repulsive. And that's where we're headed if we go single payer.
I had friends in Canada when Obamacare passed.
Mm-hmm.
Say, oh shit, now where are we going to go?
Right.
They counted on it. They counted on the United States healthcare system. Look, being from Michigan, you would see stories about people from Canada coming down to get knee replacements, hip replacements, even heart valve surgery, because they could not wait long enough. They didn't have time to wait.
Mm-hmm.
They could die. So they'd go to hospitals in Metro Detroit for a heart valve surgery, or, you're not going to die from a knee replacement, but you don't want to wait 6 months, a year, 2 years, when you can go over into the United States and pay for a knee surgery.
And have it done immediately.
Right.
No, it's unbelievable. They want it to look like the DMV where you walk in and take a number. And it doesn't matter how sick you are, that's where you are in line.
That's how intellectually dishonest these people are. They make it sound like they're going to fundamentally transform our healthcare industry and everything's going to be the same except the government's going to pay for it.
Yeah. And they seem to believe in that scenario that the government has its own stash of cash.
Yeah.
That's the big disconnect. Or they just figure, the rich will foot that bill.
Yeah.
As if that's another, golden goose that'll never die.
listen, I have lupus, I have cancer, I need to go to the doctor, and hey, Bill Gates will pay for it.
Sure he will.
It's all on his tab. Oh, okay. Bill Gates will just go out to the money tree.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody.
Sure. He's a kind-hearted philanthropist.
Right. Your taxes won't go up.
No.
And the quality of your health care will not go down.
Right. Everything's going to be great. We're the only industrialized country that doesn't have it. Mm-hmm. Shame on us.
Yeah. Well, I don't fly, Tracy. I don't like to fly. I'm going to fly to Vegas. And I'm not going to pull up the story because we're really running short on time. But apparently there was an 80-year-old woman getting ready to get on a plane in China, and she threw some coins in the jet engine for good luck.
Yeah, as you do. I actually have the story up. I think
do you?
Well, I just thought it was so funny. So it's from metro.co.uk. So this woman, she was an 80-year-old. Her last name is Kui. She threw 9 coins at an engine of a China Southern Airlines flight as she was boarding. So I guess, I don't know if you've ever had to do that where you walk up the steps.
Yes.
Like you don't. Okay. So that's how it's set up. So she chucked these coins. And 8 of the 9 missed. But one of them got into the engine. So, of course, I had to pull everybody off the plane and then go through the full maintenance check on the engine. But I guess the flight got off okay in the end. Ugh. So maybe she's not so nuts.
This is why I hate flying. People like that. You have to go through the TSA, which is ridiculous. The security Broadway show. Yeah. That is the TSA. You go through that crap. Then you get in line, and I fly Southwest.
I do too.
And I hate flying Southwest. I love...
I don't hate it. I love it, actually.
I love the fact that they don't charge me for...
your bags.
Checking my bags. But if you don't get yourself checked in 24 hours before and you end up being C60 in boarding, so you have to fight with people to, get to a seat.
Yes.
Like a bunch of animals in the wild.
Why don't you just pay the $15 extra to get checked in early?
Cheap. Then you're trapped 30,000 feet in this metal tube with a bunch of disease-filled people, germ-infested subhumans, some of them. Mm-hmm. A few of them may be functionally retarded, and you are trapped. Who knows if someone is sitting next to you with Cuban super AIDS, or the pilot decides that he has nothing left to live for, and he's just going to take you on a death spiral down to the ground. Or, worse than all that, being stuck on a flight next to someone who wants to talk to you for 4 hours.
This is why I suggest you buy a copy of Thomas Sowell's Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Okay.
And just pull that out on the plane. Nobody will talk to you.
Well, my go-to is I just have my earbuds in as I'm boarding, and I don't take them out, and I have nothing playing. That usually gets me out of 90% of any kind of human communication with other humans. Mm-hmm. But you get someone who's persistent, who just wants to talk. And small talk, I don't get it. I don't know why anybody wants to engage in it. What do you get out of sitting next to someone and talking about the weather for 30 minutes?
I don't know. You and I differ on this. I've had pleasant plane conversations.
Ugh, leave me alone. I don't even want to be here. I don't want to be on this plane. I don't want to be stuck next to you, stranger. I'm sure I'm going to be accused of manspreading, even though I'm not. 6'3", 260. Ugh. Air travel's terrible. And now you got to worry about old broads throwing coins into the engine.
Oh, I do think you're safe from that in the States, since we mostly have to walk down, what is that called, the gangway?
I guess. But now TSA is going to be searching you for small change. You don't have any small change, do you? You're not going to throw it in the jet engine, are you? Actually, the only time I've had to do that, I was at the Philadelphia airport. Changing planes, and I was outside walking into my plane. I was like, oh, this is right out of a movie.
Huh.
Who does this anymore?
The jetways were not working or something?
Well, it was a prop plane, so I could have thrown thrown coins at the prop, and it wouldn't happen. Nothing would have happened. But it was a flight from Philadelphia to Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So that's weird, flying on a prop plane. Have you ever done that?
Mm-hmm. I flew on like I compared it to a minivan with wings from Fort Myers to Key West. It was so small. They had to wait. Everybody had to tell how much they weighed, and then they sat you accordingly.
Yeah.
So I was like, nobody better lie on this.
All right, I think we're done here.
Yeah, we are.
Where can everyone find the Enough Already podcast?
You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Enough Already Podcast. And if you forget all of that, you can always go to EnoughAlready.us.
And if you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, check us out on Wham 1600 AM in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
And if you missed that show, that will be on EnoughAlready.us. But that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. She's Tracy L. Connors. I'm Fingers Malloy. We'll be back next week with an all-new Enough Already.
Enough Already Radio is on Facebook. Check out the fan page, facebook.com/Enough Already Podcast.